This dragon devours 20 mammoths a day, and his weight is closer to a small universe, waddling along like a sliding device, with a belly like an air mattress, making flying a challenge even for a turtle. Whenever he spots prey, he rolls into action, totally embarrassing the entire dragon clan. Just days ago, a bunch of treasure-hunting grave robbers decided to crush the party. They planned to raid the treasure vault in the city of Silch, which is cursed and sealed tighter than a pickle jar. To break the spell, they needed the king's helmet, so they trooped off to the dark underground dungeon. This place was perilous, so they had to be quiet. Suddenly, a few brain-eating beholders approached. These monsters love feasting on brains and controlling bodies, and the smarter the target, the crazier they get. Everyone was hiding behind each other, terrified of being the main course. To everyone's surprise, the beholders paused for a second as if they didn't see anything and just slid past. They dodged danger, but walked away humiliated. They then reached the Castle of Confusion, where they had to crack the bridge's riddle first. Just as the knight was explaining the riddle, our clumsy tree friend stepped right on it. The knight gave him a foolish look, but luckily, the little tree found a teleportation wand. Creating an entrance and then an exit, they miraculously crossed the broken bridge. Deep within the castle, they found the king's helmet, but just then, a few shadowy guards showed up, ready for a showdown. The knight shouted for everyone to freeze, then charged in, swinging his sword like he was performing in a ballet. He quickly took out a bunch of minor guards, but just as they were about to make their escape, the guards rose from the dead like they were auditioning for a horror movie, making it impossible to fight back. The team had to flee faster, but a gust sent them flying as they passed a tunnel. Once they landed, they were greeted by a ridiculously overweight dragon, puffing and panting just trying to climb out of the cave. After being cooped up and sedentary, this guy looked more like a vintage basketball than a dragon, sliding along the ground instead of walking. Proud as ever, the dragon decided to show off, snagging a guard and flinging him like a pancake before jumping up to swallow him whole. But in his glory, he crashed into an overhead chain, and as everyone scrambled upward, our hefty dragon tripped over it like a clumsy giant. At first, it looked like a blunder, but he actually figured out a new skill, rolling toward everyone, only to find his weight turned into his biggest foe. He smashed the bridge, falling to the next level, while the druid scrambled up the gap. After missing her leap, she turned falling lava into a smoke plume. Realizing a dead end ahead, our little tree waved his hand and activated the teleporting door. Everyone jumped through the portal and zapped back to the upper floor, leaving the big dragon anxiously trying to take off into the sky. But his hefty body could only manage 3 seconds of flight, yet in that moment, he somehow climbed onto the suspension bridge. Using his weight to shift the bridge, he sat there joyously, mouth wide open like he was waiting for pizza delivery. Just in time, the knight leaped in and stuck his holy sword right in the dragoness noggin, saving the day. As they fled into the cave, the hefty dragon chased, but his blubber blocked the igniter. Frustrated, he let out a puff of gas, causing the thieves to spin around. To their horror, it was a dead end where the chubby dragon banged against the deity above, with water rushing in. Thankfully, the stone was finally cut. Rocky rushed back to detonate the nuke deep in the core. Carl calculated they needed to evenly distribute the nuclear bombs to ensure the explosion would help restart the core. He was basically a scientific wizard.